In this age of new normal, online is not your only option. Because new normal means new learning modalities and new learning possibilities. Let Vibal make learning offline possible with Smart Class. Smart Class contains pre-made daily modules sequenced according to DepEd's budgeted teaching and learning calendar. Each module has a specific lesson duration and has day markers to guide parents and teachers in the asynchronous learning of learners. Inside the modules available in Smart Class, you will find the following elements. First, learning competencies are identified in the module openers. Kickstarters are available to test students' prior knowledge on the subject matter. This set of activities, found at the beginning of each lesson, may also serve as motivational activities. Parents of preschool to grade 2 students will also find notes to parents which contain tips and pointers on how they can guide their child while learning at home. Redefine your students' learning experience with the integration of augmented reality technology into images and illustrations available in Smart Class, making learning more interactive and exciting. At the end of each module, Long Quiz is also available to assess students' understanding of the lesson. Smart Class also features Wrap Up, a lesson ender activity that applies the constructivism theory of learning. In Wrap Up, students are expected to summarize the lesson on their own using a graphic organizer. You may also evaluate the quality of your students' learning by letting them practice their learning in real life through GRASP's formatted performance tasks. The content of Smart Class is designed for the entire academic year, and it is available for 5 major subjects. All aligned with DepEd's K-12 curriculum, and covers the most essential learning competencies prescribed by DepEd. Secure your own copy of SmartClass before classes open. Contact marketing at vibalgroup.com to know more.
Good day, Kabibal, and welcome to our school opening webinar series part 2. For the discussion this afternoon, our topic will be on preparing online and offline lectures, technical considerations. Before we begin, take note of the following reminders. Make sure you are registered to the webinar to have your e-certificate of participation. Visit certificate.revolvegroup.com to generate your proof of attendance. Place your question in the comment box allotted during the session, and they will be addressed by a speaker later on. Share the video using hashtag LearnAs1PH as our official hashtag to our Bibal webinars. Experience learning, Kabibal. And now to proceed with our webinar this afternoon, it is my pleasure to introduce to you our distinguished speaker for today. Brother Roderick M. Aguirre is a consultant and evaluator of K-12 Philippine Basic Education Curriculum and the academic consultant for Sisters of Mary Philippines. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Brother Roderick M. Aguirre.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's wonderful to see you again in this week, and it's Friday, and I think I have to say this. Thank God it's Friday, but for me, it's not the end of the week. For me, it's always on a Sunday, and this is not the last day for my webinar. I still have schedules, of course, for my school until Sunday. Nonetheless, today we'll be talking about a little lighter topic than the topics that we've been discussing this past few days. This time it's more of how we can improve our online and offline lectures. When we talk about online and offline lectures, we're talking about the perspective of distance education. So this is not offline education that is traditional lecturing where there's face-to-face interaction, because there are too many definitions of offline lectures. The perspective in the context of offline lecture here is more of no connectivity connection or no connectivity lectures. This would be more of the things that we of asynchronous delivery of our lectures that are pre-recorded for our students, and they can access that at home without any connection at all. So these are probably sent off to the students via a CD form or via a flash drive. Okay, on that note, I don't want to give too much talk about this. I will just go directly embark on our topic, because I still have a scheduled meeting at around 4 o'clock, and I'm the host, so I'll be online at 3:30. So I need to finish at least probably 5 minutes before 3:30. So on we go. Oh, wait, screen share. I forgot how to traverse over Zoom. Oh, here we are. I'm relearning again. For the past few days, I've been using Microsoft Team and Google Meet, and it's mind-boggling in the sense that I move from one application to another, and I seem to forget that I'm using a new application. Those are technical considerations that we need to think about. All right, so my topic for this afternoon is preparing online and offline lectures, and then that should be taking in technical considerations in striking a balance between traditional and technology-enhanced learning deliveries. And I would like to focus more on that. I would like to focus more on takeaways on how we can make our lectures online and offline more active in its perspective. And I'll be suggesting ways how we can improve our lectures, that it becomes more interactive, more interesting to our students, and not boring. And I would like to also share to you the importance and the crucial role that teacher lectures play in the teaching and learning process of our students, not only during face-to-face interaction, but most importantly, during this distance education. All right. So I think you already know my flow. This is already the last day of the week where I'm going to have a delivery, this such delivery. And by next week, I would like you to be surprised of what I'm gonna prepare and how I'm going to present my presentations next week. And I'm kind of excited, but at the same time, um, scared a little because I'll be integrating a little bit of theater arts and acting into it. So to make things a little bit different from the previous months of my presentation. Nonetheless, it will not be my presentation and my input will not be diminished by such designs and such way of delivery. So it would just make it more interesting and more lively and interactive. That's how I hope it to be. All right. So let's begin with my introduction. Di pa nga ako nagsisimula, no? Ang dami ko nang pinagsasabi. Talk about trying to finish on time. All right. I already timed myself so that at least, my mouth would stop talking and just, deliver. Come on, just go. So let's just focus on introduction and let's identify and bust myths about offline and online lectures. And these are the three common statements that I've gathered online that are commonly stated by both teachers and students alike, and we're going to bust them as we go through. We're going to bust them first, and then we're going to explain why they're busted as we go through our topic for this afternoon. All right, so let's begin with statement number one. Okay, it says here, flipping your class means getting rid of lecturing. They said, yes, it's common trend. Oh God, I bit my cheek, my inner cheek. That hurt a lot. Ang dal-dal kasi ni Michi. Oh, sorry. Tandaan lang, para kasi may kaaway palagi. Flipping your class means getting rid of lecturing. Okay? Flipping classrooms or flipped classrooms are quite common right now as one of the designs of distance education, and it makes a lot of our students become more independent and more self-disciplined in their approach to their learning. But I would say that it requires a lot of participation at home by the primary caregivers and our students, and those students who are still struggling while they were still with face-to-face interaction last year with their teachers and had difficulty and were struggling with cooperative learning. I think they will struggle so much with solitary learning if they have not been trained and have not been raised to be highly independent learners with self-discipline. I guess this is going to be a huge problem for our students. Therefore, statement number one, flipping your class means getting rid of lecture. Definitely not. Lecture or teacher input will always be an integral part in any type of learning. It's either given as an offline method or an online method, asynchronous method, modular method. The point here is that the teacher will always have an input one way or the other. It could be in a form of quizzes, it could be a form of recitation, it could be a form of activity sheets. Nonetheless, all of these are teacher preparations and teacher input. Hence, there will always be room for teacher lecture where our students will be indirectly or directly interacting with students, and it cannot be replaced by any type of gadget or by any type of approach into the teaching and learning process. I do believe that there's a huge positive effect of the teacher as a model of learning and as a model of how the skills should be taught and how the skills are worked at play, and the teachers are the one modeling that to the students, and by that I believe that the teacher is the key element in the teaching and learning process, and therefore lecture you cannot get rid of that. And before I proceed and before boss this, I would like to say a month-long World Teachers Month celebration to all of us, and I believe Vibal has prepared a lot of webinar trainings in respect and to give respect and to put the teachers at a pedestal for this month and to give importance to the role pivotal role or pivotal role in the educational system. Okay, I'm a teacher, so I'm happy that it's World Teachers Month celebration, and with that also is our celebration for those Catholics out there. It's our Holy Rosary Month. So all right. On that note, statement number one, we can never get rid of lecturing because teacher input is and will always be important in the teaching learning process. Therefore, together we say is busted! Wala pa akong tulog nito pero kinuman energy nyo. Thank God for the coffee for that. Baka Nescafe pwede naman, baka lang pwede nyo kung kuning model. Statement number two. Still one of those ways of getting rid of lecturing. They say that flipped classroom would get rid of teacher lecture. I beg to disagree. Statement number two says that it states that flipping your class will require lots of technical knowledge. It depends on the design of the flipped classroom, how you're going to deliver your lecture. It could be in a form of module. If it's the form of module, I think a lot of teachers are very well versed, especially in making modules and making handouts and making activity sheets. So a lot of teachers will not necessarily have to go beyond the technical knowledge that they have, unless they would like to enliven and to improve their delivery of their lectures. It could be now online. It could also be in a form of pre-recorded video. Nonetheless, they just need the cell phones. And I think a lot of teachers already know how to use their voice recording. I've been doing my voice recording here for the stories that I send to my pamangkin and to some of the kids that I said that I'm gonna create stories for them. And I do storytelling, pre-recorded storytelling. And these are forms of lectures to help kids learn how to read. And at the same time, our teachers out there have their own gadgets that would help them come up with better forms of lectures. And cell phones are very handy. And I believe a lot of teachers also have their own iPads and all other gadgets that would help them. Applications are already embedded, I suppose, in your app, in your cell phones. And therefore, we've been using gadgets and digital applications for the past few years. And I believe it would not require a lot. We don't have to be professional like the broadcasting, big broadcasting agencies in the Philippines, that it has to be full video that we create of. It could be like TED Talk, spontaneous way of delivering speech, and let's ask our friends to record that. Therefore, I believe that flipped classroom does not really require technical knowledge. It's just require creativity. On that note, we would say that statement number two, flipping class will require lots of technical knowledge from our teachers, is busted. All right. I don't know if this is going to be the last day for me busting myths, but definitely for October, I'm not gonna use busting myths anymore. I'm gonna be doing something different. You may see me singing every now and then, not dance perhaps, but anyway. So today I'm gonna relish my busting of myths because this is going to be the last day of my way of delivering my introduction. So third statement and last statement says, students will not like the flipped class and your teaching evaluations will suffer. A lot of teachers wouldn't want to do a flipped classroom like advanced readings or providing students with pre-recorded videos, pre-recorded lectures so that students can advance, read, learn in advance all of these materials before they do online lectures, online discussions. Believing that students will not necessarily open these materials or learn from these materials, or it will give teachers the picture that they are a lazy teacher because they're making students do the job of learning. I get this is not, because flipped classroom is still, there's a lecture, only that it gives a different perspective how lecture should be provided to our students. It becomes more an active perspective of lecture and allowing students to find their own time, and at the same time develop the sense of responsibility that if they do not do this, if they do not review this pre-recorded videos or pre-recorded lectures or handouts, that the teachers provided for them before an online discussion and lecture, I believe that's their own lookout. And by, if the teacher becomes consistent with the use of the flipped classroom, parents and students alike will see that in reality, sorry, ang daldal kasi, that in reality, the bulk of the responsibility in the learning process of our students must be from the students, not the teachers. Unlike in the traditional way of lecturing, most of the preparation, the lecturing, the delivery of the lesson, and then making sure that the students are able to understand the lessons. I think let's say 70% would come from the teacher, but with the distance education right now, parents and students are facing the reality that, hey, the responsibility of learning is actually mine. The job of my teachers is more of to prepare materials for me to read, for me to learn from, but I will still have to force myself, to motivate myself in order to open these materials and learn from it. And if I don't do that, who's gonna do it for me? And that's a good realization for our students and for our parents. And I believe that Flipped Classroom, with a different twist in the use of teacher lecture, would definitely make our students more independent, if not self-disciplined in this school year. If we could only be just consistent with the use of lectures. And that's what we're gonna discuss in just few minutes though. I'm not gonna eat a lot of your time, so please stay with me. And this is gonna be the last time I'm gonna use this kind of way of delivering my goods. So together, statement number 3 that says students will not like the flipped class and your teaching evaluations will suffer is definitely busted. It's a myth. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it is a myth. And we're not going to discuss that. And it should not be seen as something that would diminish the professional picture of our teachers. Making our students read in advance, do reports, make research, do research. These are responsibilities of a good learner. And I hope parents, you realize that. Okay, so let's proceed to a published article saying the importance of lectures, be it online or offline, in the teaching and learning process. So I think a lot of teachers, I think people out there would like you to force yourself, give yourself time to at least, if you don't have subscription for journals, if you don't have, there are online journals that you can subscribe on, but I know that it's a little bit expensive, and the kind of life that we have right now with the pandemic would, take its toll on our budget. But there are free online articles that you can read, and I'm speaking from personal experience that it helps me a lot to redirect my thoughts and to refine my thoughts and to embark on things that I think are worthwhile as a professional educator, and at the same time as a religious brother, as a brother. Ooh. And by reading, going online, let's use online platforms positively and learn from it. And there are a lot of articles that we can read that can, make things better for us as teachers and understand our roles as teachers, and at the same time understand how we can help our students become more independent and more holistic in their approach to their learning. So this is one of the articles that I stumbled into, and I was surprised of the way lecture was treated, and I'm happy for that. I'm not saying that I have the same idea. It's just that I can always say that no matter what we say, there will be no replacement for the teacher as the key element in the teaching and learning process. Otherwise, it wouldn't be called teaching learning process if it's just, learning process all in all. So let's read. If you want to read the whole article and and go through the details of it. It's entitled "Making Lectures More Active: Center for Teacher and Learning." Retrieved from that's the URL, but this is the article. Mm, Okay, let me just get a sip of my coffee para mas tumaas po ang ating energy. Pang commercial yon. The lecture is a long-standing method of instruction that, while appropriate to some learning situation, is not ideal in others. On this page, you will find information about strengths and weaknesses of lecturing, as well as active learning techniques that you can easily use to engage students during a lecture. All right. It says also that lectures are the major teaching. Hey. Okay. Lectures are the major teaching method employed in many academic departments and schools. As you reflect on how best to prepare and deliver lectures, keep in mind that the primary goal should be to foster critical thinking and active learning. That means that um, it's not just lecturing; it is also making sure that when we lecture, we it's an active way of doing and delivering information to our students and making them develop and think critically of this information that we provide them with. All right. It's just one way of doing that. It's not just, not a lot of teachers right now are just, hooked up by just I just need to finish this and I don't care if not necessarily I don't care. It's just I need to finish the curriculum. And if I'm able to finish the curriculum, that I would say I was able to make my students learn. It's not how many learning competencies you have finished, but it's actually on how our students have acquired the learning competencies and the skills and the knowledge that we desire them to acquire or to have. Consequently, lecturers should resist, okay, should resist the temptation to make lectures more entertaining by overusing visual aids. There are a lot of teachers who use a lot of visual. I'm not saying that I'm the kind of person with visual aids. I strike a balance between pictures and words and my explanation. And I think the bulk of lectures would be on teacher explanation, and the visual aids are there for aid to support the teacher's lecture. But what happens with other teachers is that um, the visual aids like videos and pictures, not that I'm saying that they are not connected to what the teacher is trying to say or what the teacher is trying to lecture on. It's just that it distracts the attention of our students to listen to the teacher's lecture. Okay, since lectures are primary oral, the visual material should generally be appropriate for recording in lecture notes, which usually means simple summary diagram. In general, lectures should aim to be enjoyable, but should not strive to be entertaining as the major goal, because lectures should be memorable rather than diverting. So the visual aids that we use as lecturers should support what we would like to convey to our listeners. And this is what I'm doing. My visual aids, my PowerPoint presentation only guides me of what I'm going to say to you guys out there. And there's a lot of things that come out of my mouth. It's not like the way we do that some teachers would do, that everything they say is on the PowerPoint presentation or in visual aids. And what I could say is that I think the teacher should not talk anymore, and we should allow the the students to just read what's written on the blackboard or what's written on the manila paper or what's written on the PowerPoint presentation. So the migration of the information from traditional approach of lecture to a more technology enhanced delivery of lectures have not changed because it still is highly verbal. Okay. Also, the article summarizes that in a nutshell, lectures retain a major educational role because they exploit evolved aspects of human nature to make learning easier and more effective when compared with electronic and literacy-based media. In a sense that with the presence of the teacher is able to digest the information and redecode it, represent it to the students in such a way that it's within their appropriate level and is easily understandable. On that note, the article also says, and as a university teaching continues to expand, it is important to make learning as easy as possible because, yes, because when I was a professor at the Philippine Normal University, I learned the mantra that the best teacher is the best teacher who affects learning and makes difficult lessons, difficult concepts understandable, but at the same time enjoyable to the learners. If we are able to do that, then I think we have, because if our learners see fun in what they are learning, then I think they will be engaged actively in listening to us as we lecture. All right. And instead of trying to phase out lectures, we should strive to make them better. Okay? So, dapat po yung mga tao dyan na sinasabi na, wag na magsalita sa teacher. Importante pa rin po ang lecture talaga. Okay? Modeling is very important. To do this entails understanding how lectures exploit human psychology, especially the fact that lectures are essentially formal, spoken, and social events. It helps our students see that how information can be delivered in human language, and in many ways how it can be delivered, or can be delivered in how many ways. Parang nabaliktad yata. And how this information can be delivered in various ways. Yun, umukay na ang aking statement. Now this article challenges us, okay, this article about lecture challenges us that instead of thinking of approaches and pedagogical approaches that phases out the role of the teacher as a lecturer, we should stop doing that. We should stop from thinking of an application, online application platforms that replaces the teacher. What we should do is think of how we can help our teachers with the use of this technology improve the delivery of the lectures, not replace the teacher. The teacher is there. It's to motivate the voice of the teacher, the face of the teacher, and the passion of the teacher is very affectionate, and it influences and motivates students who listen to the teacher. The passion and the commitment and the compassion of the teacher, once seen by the students, they will feel and motivated externally to be more active in the learning process. Ang dami kong sinabi, no, but that's what the article is trying to say. And I don't know, I'm a very voracious reader, addict. Ang tawag nga sa akin ay addict po sa pagbabasa. We will learn a lot, and happy that there are a lot of experts out there that are doing research on improving the lecture type of methodology and approach to delivering lessons to our students. And what I'm doing right now is lecture. It's just that it's more of an online kind of lecture, and I'm combining many elements, and that's what we're going to discuss a little bit in a while. So let's start our discussion, and I've ate up already about 30 minutes of my time. Ang galing ko talaga sa daldal. All right, let's go for question number 1. And question number 1 is, what is online and offline lectures? Okay. So offline lecture is simply as in distance learning. Offline lecture is a mode of delivery that does not require online participation. These are our online participation, or does not require students to be logged on or logged in a certain online platform for them to listen to the teacher as he delivers or as she delivers the information to the students. One way or the other, it could be creative delivery, it could be a traditional way delivery. It's online. Nonetheless, in offline, the materials are delivered to the students individually, and they don't need connectivity in accessing the information. So I think this is one of the solutions. I suppose this is one of the solutions for teachers, for students who have gadgets at home, have laptops at home, have computers at home, but have problems with connectivity. And I think we have to um, admit, we need to admit the reality right now that um, because of too many people accessing online connectivity, Wi-Fi connection. I'm not gonna mention what institution is you are connecting with for your Wi-Fi. The point there is that as many people, as many students, and many families are connecting, they are not just students but also those who are um, by and by we will have problems with connection. So I think a lot of schools and a lot of teachers should also consider offline lectures and offline learning. These are ways of recording. We record materials like the lectures. So nire-record ni teacher lahat ang mga nakalagay sa module, nire-record niya kagaya nito, tapos ipapadala sa mga magulang o sa mga teacher sana na ito for this week ito ang mga lectures na kailangan nilang panoorin, tapos ano ang page niyan sa module na nagsusupport. O kaya pwede naman pong isang, kagaya sa ALS, pwede naman pong isang linggo, isang buwan, pwede pong ganon. What's good about offline is that binibigay mo lahat ang materyales sa pamilya, binibigay mo sa kanilang schedule, kasi sila ngayon ang may responsibilidad na susundin man nila o hindi. Papasok po dito ang sinasabi natin na disciplined. Are they disciplined enough? Are the parents motivated enough to help their kids, support their kids in the offline learning? Kasi pag online kasi at may connection sila, there's still a little bit of percentage of reliance on the teacher. But because there's now problems with connectivity, I don't know if I'm gonna say thank God for this problem, and it makes the parents realize that they have to be more active in more active in their involvement in their kids' learning. So offline lectures would be a good solution to those families, to the kids with families and who have access to gadgets, but have problems with connectivity. This could be delivered through, ayun pala, dahil ako ng dagdag, pero ano pala, sinulat ko pala. This could be delivered through learning modules, pre-recorded lectures, videos, audio files, or any combinations of this. So ibig sabihin po niyan, hindi po ito ang mga lectures na ina-upload po namin sa Facebook, sa YouTube. No, those are not called offline lectures. They are called online lectures because the students will still need internet connection or connectivity for them to access those. Pag sinabi po natin offline lecture, hindi po kailangan i-upload. Ito po ay pinapadala via, say, a CD or via flash drive to the students. Tapos with that, yung materials na yan, so naka-flash drive, merong siguro plastic cover, plastic folder, plastic envelope, nakalagay din yung mga activity sheets, tapos may schedule, tapos nandun ng USB, tapos yung USB, naka-schedule na kung ano yung mga anong schedule ng pagkakasunod-sunod ng mga lectures or videos na si teacher ang gumawa, tapos siya ang panonoorin ng mga bata. It's either mag-activity sheet muna siya, tapos panonoorin po yung nakalagay sa USB, or manonood muna siya bubuksan niyo muna ang file doon sa flash drive, tapos gagawin niya activities. One with the other, no matter how you use the flipping of it, it boils down to the idea that the materials will be prepared by the teacher, and then it will be given to the students and the parents will have to follow the schedule and make the students more independent and learn time management and follow directions and follow schedule. Para sa akin, maganda po yung offline lecture kasi it does not only make our students realize and our parents more active in the learning process of our students, but also addresses our problem in the Philippines about the connectivity. It also helps our teachers that they need to prepare all the materials in advance, and then sinagawa po niya the whole month, medyo makakahinga na siya ng konti, dahan-dahan na siya mag-prepare for the next month ulit, kung ganun po ang gagawin ninyo. Ngayon, kung every week po nyo gagawin, so ganun pa rin po, you'll be preparing your materials this week, for next week, okay pa rin po yan. Nonetheless, hindi po nakaka-stress kay teacher na, naku, araw-araw may lecture, bukas na naman, parang every night walang tulog. So offline addresses, it makes everyone happy. But then again, I'm not saying it should be totally offline. Mas maganda pa rin na at least once or twice a week merong lecture po, online lecture si teacher para nagkakaroon po na nakikita po ng mga bata in real time ang kanilang teacher na nagsasalita. Although nakita nila sa video nagsasalita si teacher, pero there's a difference between the feeling na nangyayari ito ngayon, kasama ako nga ito nakikita, kasama siya, hindi yung recorded lang to pwede kong i-stop and timer lang. Yung online kasi pag dire-diretso na, hindi niya kailangan siya mag-discipline ng sarili na makinig talaga. So I would say a combination of both, but we cannot discount the importance of having offline lecture as one of the elements of distance education. Doon pa lang dami ko nang sinabi. Now, online lecture, on the other hand, is an online lecture as an educational class that is held online. Kaya nga online kasi online siya. So, ibig sabihin kailangan connectivity. All right? An online lecture refers to a lecture delivered virtually as opposed to in person. Online lectures may be asynchronous in that students can watch a lecture at their own pace. Other online lectures may be synchronous, meaning naka-upload lang po siya sa Facebook o sa YouTube, tapos they can access it anytime that they have connections or based on their schedule. But still, it's online. Ibig sabihin na kailangan po ng connectivity. In short po, actually, ibig sabihin pala, sir, pwede pong yung pre-recorded lecture po ng teacher, i-upload po niya sa Facebook group po ng klase nila o kaya sa online platforms. Yes, those are called online lectures too. But again, paano nga? Kaya nga, we are trying to introduce offline lecture here na there's a huge possibility that their children have access. Kasi, guys, let's be realistic. Habang tumatagal, lalaki ang gastos po ng mga magulang at saka ng mga bata for online. Kung maging puro online. So, kaya maniniwala po ako na, at we have also to consider that mas mahirap ang buhay ngayon kaysa sa dati. Kasi nga, mahirap ang trabaho. Okay? So we have also to think of na, paano kayang gagawin ko na malilesen ang expenses ng family at saka ng estudyante sa connectivity. Kung mobile data ang gagamitin nila for connectivity, so mahirap nun. Ilang subjects yun. So the best way to do that is combine offline and online lectures. Question number 2. I hope you're satisfied with my answering question number 1. The definition. It's just more of a definition of what's offline and online. Again, I would like to emphasize that the offline lecture that I'm talking about here is still within the perspective of distance education. Okay, an offline lecture is simply put that it does not require connectivity. So, meron din pre-recorded video ang online, kaya lang kailangan pa rin siyang naka-upload siya, asynchronous, pwedeng synchronous, pero naka-upload po siya, so kailangan pa rin po siyang ng connectivity. So, kailangan ng gastos. Technical-wise, kailangan ng technical know-how ng teacher how to upload that, especially for videos, paano niya i-convert ang kanyang lectures into video format and other things. Right? So let's proceed to question number 2. They say a way to enjoy your coffee is sip it, not gulp it. All right. The second question is, we only have 4 questions though, so we're almost halfway through. Question number 2. What are the advantages and disadvantages of offline lectures? I would like to be honest as to what research say about the advantages and disadvantages of offline. So at least you teachers out there can gauge which of this or the combinations of this would you want to come up with as you go along with your preparation. Kasi nga, ang inisip ko sa dito is mas maganda may combination kayo ng offline at online para makabawas po sa inyong hirap Kasi demanding po kasi talaga ang online. It's very time demanding preparation wise. And oh well, I'm doing always online lectures. It's really demanding. I enjoy it, but at the end of the day, it's mentally It's not physically exhausting. It's more of mentally exhausting. It makes lots of teachers think of a way how we can present information in such a way that it becomes more entertaining, enjoyable, and interactive for students. Naging British na ako, kulang na ako sa tulog. All right, let's have the answer to the questions. Question number 2, the advantages and disadvantages of offline lectures. So lectures are good for offline lectures are good for presenting current information and summarizing material. So maganda po siyang i-present ang offline material dahil pwede po siyang ibigay sa mga bata like a trivia. Now, okay, trivia like before they engage in their module, they say, okay, watch this please first, this video about the trivia, about science, about say properties of matter, or kaya mitigating environmental issues. So let's have a trivia about Philippine environmental issues since 1970s on garbage disposal problem. Okay? So mga ganun siya. So mga current, kahit pa siya current kasi nga still prevalent as a problem. So ibibigay sa mga bata and then it will be more of their context as to how they are going to understand the information they're going to read in their module. Or it could be presented as summarizing material. Like after reading the module, meron silang i-open na material na video na binigay sa kanila offline. Then they're gonna watch how the teacher explains the module and summarizes everything. Still good. That's still good. Okay? Ibig sabihin, nakatulong siya as support to the independent module learning for our students. Next, focusing material on a particular area of interest. What's good about offline lecture is that the teacher can just create lectures before or after the module use, particularly for just one purpose. Talagang talagang very focused. Unlike with the online lectures that I'm doing right now, kailangan ko ma-hit lahat ng mga questions, lahat ng learning, the learning objectives, so the webinar objectives that I need to deliver. So unlike for lectures, offline lectures, pwede po siyang pag-isa lang parang preliminary activity, pwede siyang during activity or developmental activity. It could be after activity, but for online, we need to consider 50% of that area of learning, at least 50%. And then, unless we combine it with offline lectures. Nonetheless, I could say that this one is a very good support to modular learning. Next, relaying key concepts, principles, or ideas via lectures. I think kasi dahil nga offline siya, pwede siyang balik-balikan ng bata. So nakatulong siya na maintindihan ng bata, especially when the information are highly theoretical, highly principle-based, highly abstract ideas. So pwede yung paulit-ulitin. Unlike for online lectures, mahirapan po ang bata na balik-balikan kasi once done na po siya. Alright? Unless mayroong recording element. Sabi ng teacher, i-record ko naman to kasi baka mga bata hindi nila sundan. Nag-online ka pa. Diba? Di sana dinesign mo na, itong lesson na to medyo mahirap ito. So gagawin ko siyang offline lecture, kasama siya sa offline lecture sa materials na ipapadala sa mga bata in advance. Alright. Kaya yung teacher nakakalam kung ano mga konsepto na mahirap. O huwag mong i-online kasi mahirapan ng bata nasundan ka. Next, building interest. Kasi nga, iba kasi din ang nakikita ng habang inaaral niya modules, iba rin po kasi na nakikita niya o narinig niya ang boses ng teacher. So it helps a way na feeling ng bata na kahit nag-aaral sa bahay na parang andito lang si teacher din. Parang guni-guni ko si teacher. Joke lang yung guni-guni. Parang nararamdaman ko si teacher. Parang I see ghosts. Joke. Namatay na agad ang joke ko ngayon. Okay, just now, kasi kasasabi ko lang ng joke ko, patay agad. Wala na yung career ko sa pagiging komedyante. Anyway, boses pa lang ng teacher. This is on the idea that our teachers utilize verbal elements and non-verbal elements, the voice, the facial expression in eliciting the interest of our students. Pero kung si teacher nagle-lecture, pre-recorded siya, pero pag nagsalita lang, today we're going to talk about the different cycles of the moon. And the first cycle of the moon, ang ganda ng pronunciation, pero si teacher parang matutulog na, parang naghihili ng mga bata. Then it's not. It has to be more real, like a real kind of conversation that's recorded. Now, what's not good about offline lecture is fostering active learning. Yun lang. It's good for support, but it does not support active learning. Kasi nga, it hits either preparation, hits during, or after, but not all. Ang online, pwede pa kasi maka-foster ng active learning kasi the teacher engages them and the students are actively, mentally, and emotionally engaged at a certain time of the day. Unlike for pwede kasing ang gawin ng bata na panoorin ko lang siya para lang nanonood ng TV para lang makatulog. Manonood lang ng TV. Something like that. There's a possibility of not fostering active learning and not simulating higher order thinking skills because nga it's highly focused and highly supportive of some of the elements of the modules. All right. Next, engaging learners. There's a difficulty of engaging learners because the idea that it's already recorded. So, sa utak ng bata, parang hinahirapan siya makipag-interact with teacher. Unlike for online, para pang, yun nga, what's good about online too, is that nakakausap mo. Kagaya nito, pag kausap ko kayo, at ako din, pag nag-deliver kasi ng live, kasi nagre-record lang ako, when I'm recording, ganito pa nangyari sa akin. When I'm recording a lecture, I'm more aware of my errors and my mistakes in my delivery. Unlike when I do live lectures, my ideas and my language and my vocabulary is spontaneous and spontaneous that it comes out naturally, and a lot of comments ano ko na naman nakagat ko naman daldal kasi ni Mitch. A lot of comments from those viewers are telling me like, sir, parang nakipag-usap ka lang. That's what our students feel during online. On offline lectures, that feeling is diminished because students know that it's not live and the teacher has pre-recorded it. Sabi niya, rehearsed yun. Unless magaling si teacher umarte. But alas, our teachers not all our teachers are actors and male actors and female actors. That hurts a lot. Okay, next. Developing learner skills. Nahihirapan ang bata. One of the comments during offline lecture is that some of the students, since students have problems with how teachers naturally are able to demonstrate the skills. Hindi nakakapag-interact ang bata sa mga tanong nila. So in terms of skills, mayroong mga pagkakataon na may hindi naiintindihan ang bata. Since it's recorded, hindi niya matatanong si teacher. So yun po ang isa sa mga limitasyon ng offline lecture. Pero kung nagawa po ni teacher ang offline, ito po masasabi ko, kung ang teacher po ay nakagawa ng offline lecture na ang ginawa po niya ay considering most commonly asked questions by students, i-consider na yon, I think malilimit na yung element ng not developing learner skills. Kaya lang it will take a lot of research, a lot of survey of interest of our students, survey of students' questions. So a lot of preparation still. Next, exploring student attitudes or values. Simple. Sa recorded kasi, ma-record mo siya, ma-deliver mo lang siya. So hindi mo makikita kung how the students interact with the other students, how the students interact with you, how they ask questions. And on online, nalalaman ng teacher kung paano ang natututunan ng bata, ang inisip ng bata. Kasi nga, the way they respond to you, either iconic language or via video or by the microphone to point us, we're able to take note of changes of the students' attitudes. Unlike if it's offline, again, alam nga ng bata na recorded lang. So sometimes it gets boring. So wag lang puro off lectures. I'm not saying, that's why I'm saying, I'm not saying that's all offline. I'm saying let us strike a balance. Kaya nga ang topic ko kanina, yung aking subtitle, striking a balance. Okay, striking a balance between traditional and technology-enhanced lectures like online lectures. Okay. So let's proceed to question number 3. Wow, we are now almost at the second to the last question, and I only have 15 minutes before 3 o'clock. So don't worry, I'm halfway through. Halfway through pa lang. Third question, what are the advantages and disadvantages of online? Now we're done with the technicalities, some of the technical advantages and disadvantages of offline lectures. Let's now discuss honestly what research says about the advantages, technical advantages, knowledge-based disadvantages and advantages of online lectures. So these are the advantages of online lectures. 1, these are convenient and flexible on both students and teachers. Okay, naging convenient siya, well, for those who have connectivity, right? It becomes convenient and flexible because it makes the students and teachers feel that they are in a classroom, in a learning environment, and the teachers are able to allow students to respond back to teachers in different creative ways. It could be an iconic language. I already talked about iconic language use, and then it could also be via verbal. It could also be via facial expressions, or could via the camera, kasi kita ng teacher ang lahat ng ito. And it becomes more flexible because the teacher has to forget being so strict, kasi nga dapat medyo low affected filter ang ating online lectures. Masaya pa rin, okay? It becomes convenient because students don't have to travel to school to be with the teacher. Travel time is lesson. Hindi naman nga lesson eh. Pwedeng gawin nga lang na 5 minutes preparation, ready na siya ang bata sa paggamit. Minsan nga, pangtaas na lang ihanda nila, tapos they're ready for class. Very convenient. Next, lecture are delivered right to the homes and provide individual learner attention. So, sa face-to-face kasi, sa face-to-face interaction, the teacher gives the lecture to all students. But with the online, dahil nga ang bata, ang tingin niya, at tapos si teacher nandun, there's a feeling of having a personal interaction with the teacher na one-on-one, kasi hindi niya kasama mga teacher, ang mga estudyante. And then while the teacher is looking in the camera, the student feels like nakatingin sa kanya si teacher. Unlike in a face-to-face interaction in a classroom, some teachers just, one way or the other looks at one student to another. Tapos hirap siyang talaga mag-isa-isa sa lahat, makipag eye-to-eye contact sa lahat ng estudyante. But with online, nagkakaroon ng illusion that the teacher is directly talking to the individual students, individual viewers, and individual participants. That's the good illusion of having online lectures, okay? And it's directly delivered to the homes. They don't have, again, as I've said, they don't have to travel and they don't have to prepare. So in terms of finances, nabawasan po ang gastos ng pamilya. So instead na mapunta doon sa transportation, dagdag na siguro yung pagbayad sa connectivity. Magkano ba ngayon ang connectivity? 1,002 or 2,000 para sa PLDT, I suppose. Depende po siguro. Akin lang ay 1 lang po, 1,2 lang. Ata, sabi nila. Now next, we have integrates academic skills with digital and world skills. And what's good about online is that ang tinuturo ni teacher, kasi teacher is now forced to think of how to use digital input in the online lecture. So one way or the other, students are able to see how this information can be digitally formatted or digitally presented. In a way, modeling to the students that academic skills can be transferred and can be transitioned to digital platforms. Yun din ang kagandahan. Unlike before sa face-to-face interaction, parang extension na lang siya. Kung may time pa, extend natin para puntang digital. But this time, because of online lectures, because of distance education, all teachers are now required and now are forced. I think I have to use the word forced kasi nga, it's not a choice. Are forced to deliver academic information, the standards, the learning competencies, with the integration of digital platforms and digital applications. So kitang-kita agad ang integration sa mga bata. Kitang-kita agad ng mga bata. Ano ba? Mamali ang aking order ng statement. Kitang-kita agad ng mga bata ang integration ng academic input with digital applications and platforms. And finally, the fourth advantage of online lectures will promote independent learning and self-discipline. Wala nga namang choice ang mga bata at mga magulang kung hindi talagang maging independent sila kasi nga they're on their own. Even if there's collaborative effort, it will still require students to do certain amount of study, a certain amount of understanding and trying to learn from the materials provided for them, be it offline and online. So still, there would be an element of independence and self-discipline among our students. And those students have not developed independence and self-discipline. I think parents will now realize that they need to train their kids, their children, to become independent learners because they cannot over-rely right now with their teachers. Alam ka naman ng mga magulang na every minute, ano po ang gagawin ko sa mga magulang? Hindi na po ganon. So, parents will also be forced to make their kids become independent and they will now realize na hindi lang pala si teacher dapat ang sinisisi ko sa mga pagkakamali ng mga anak ko, yung mga pagbagsak ng anak ko, nare-realize ko ngayon, dito pala, may problema din pala ang anak ko kasi walang disiplina. I think that's one good thing about the online, offline, and distance education. Parents get to see the real behavior of their children in the learning process. All right, so these are now the disadvantages of online lectures. Number one, let us be honest, teachers. Lahat po nagsimula na po ng klase, let us all be honest. It requires more time for preparation. Oh my gosh. Well, at first, right now, I think I've got the hang of it and I already know what I want, but then again, I'm always pushing myself to the limit. So every now and then, binabago ko po yung aking way of presentation every month. So the point here is that for the first time in forever, ano pala yun? Kanta pala yun sa movie. For the first time, that you're going to prepare for the online, it would definitely be arduous, tasking, stressful, because we're still getting the hang of it. But once we get the hang of it and the pattern becomes habitual and the habits become part of what we do every day in our lives, in our career, then it becomes simple. Ganun lang naman talaga yun eh. Sa simula mahirap, pero habang tumatagal, sige lang po. So when you feel like you're giving up of doing online lectures, don't. Just continue. And then you will realize na, kung ipupush ko pa lang pala sarili ko, mas naging creative ko. That's true. For as long as you keep on pushing yourself, you become more creative and you get to realize that you get to use digital platforms in a whole new way that you have not realized that it can be used as such. Next, requires good time management and creates a sense of isolation. Yun lang po. Kailangan mo lang, one of the disadvantages of online lectures is that sa bahay. Halimbawa, mayroon akong schedule sa umaga. Ang kalaban ko niyan ay tikpilaw. Kaya kanina, ang ingay ng manok dito, yung aso doon, daan-daan ng mga tao. I think di naman narinig yung mga But it's still distracting for me was doing online. And sometimes when I get distracted, things that I'm supposed to say just flew out of the window, and I'm now grasping for what am I supposed to say now? Such distractions um, creates the feeling of isolation. Makes me feel like parang ako lang ang nagsasakripisyo. Just being honest with you na there would come a time na ang feeling ng teacher na nag-iisa siya sa ginagawa, especially sa bahay kung siya lang ang teacher, ang asawa niya hindi naman teacher, sa mga anak niya ay nag-aaral, parang siya lang talagang hirap na hirap, especially na kung nasa bahay siya tapos meron pang household chores, hindi niya alam kung paano niya i-manage ang household chores, tapos biglang umaya. Kasi unlike kung nasa office ka, you can always just focus on work, but at home kasi there's difficulty of shutting down your senses towards all other responsibilities that you hear at home or in your communities. Good yun. Isa yan sa mga struggles po natin. It's online. Another one would be the last one, based on research again, it requires technology know-how and access to good connection. I did. Every now and then I will ask the people from the Gulf to orient me, help me with how am I supposed to go over the use of certain platforms. Like right now, I'm exploring Microsoft Teams. I'm exploring other platforms and online platforms. But nonetheless, by exploring all of this, we get to have the know-how. But again, we need time for it. And especially if it's already starting and we have already lots of responsibilities and schedules lined for us, and it's rather difficult for us to learn others. So sometimes we get stuck with what we already know. Hence, disadvantage nga siya. It requires technology know-how. If we want to improve, kailangan natin talagang aralin. Kung gusto natin gumamit ng application, kailangan na talaga aralin. So it's either you want to improve, sacrifice some of your time and then go for it, or you stay what you're good at the moment, and then once you found time and then you got the hang of it, doon ka na lang mag-improve. Either way, you can still get away from this as an advantage. Take this out as a disadvantage by, realizing that you can still do something about it. Improve your craft by finding time to explore all other available online platforms or digital platforms to improve our online lectures. Okay. So let's now proceed to the last question of the day. And the question is, what are ways to improve and make lectures more active? This is the way I would share how we can make our lectures more active. So I divided this into 3 parts. Oh my gosh, sir. Question number 4, 3 parts ka pa? Ang haba pala niyan. Wait lang. Tatapos din tayo. Ikaw talaga nagmamadali ka eh. Okay, so I divided this into 3 parts. That we preparation during lecture and after lecture. Ayun naman eh. Sobra-sobra naman kayo. Sa preparation po, ito dapat ang gagawin natin, which I usually do. Create a comfortable, non-threatening environment, be it offline or online. Pero I would highly suggest for online, like kagaya ngayon, may pahalaman po si Mayor ngayon. Though such element in the background, tapos may mga kunwaring mga blemish dun, makes the environment, my background, more appealing. Para sa akin lang sabi nila, sir, maganda na may element. Padagdag yan later on. But the point there is that because it's online, dapat we come up with certain effort as well to improve the online environment, like our background, the way we look. Wala na akong magawa sa look ko, ganyan na talaga. Yan po ginawa ni Lord, wala tayong magawa doon. But at least the background, we can do something about it. The shirt that we wear, and so on and so forth. Okay, powder a little to make our countenance a little pleasing, but the background for me is more important to make it more interesting for our students. Plus the visual aids. One of the environment that we create for online would be the visual aids that we have that support what we are trying to say. Okay. Now for offline, what we can do is same, kaya lang pre-recorded nga lang siya. So ito, pwede yung ginawa ko ito pero pre-recorded siya at pinadala sa bata. Okay? Next to be incorporate visuals. Dati kasi puro lang ako still pictures and then graphics and graphic organizer. So as I improve in my presentation and my lecture, I integrated graphics, graphic organizers, still pictures, and Giphy. So animated pictures. By doing that, it's I engage. I get to be interested of doing it, and then and I present it in such a way that there's comprehensibility and balance between visual and verbal elements in my presentation. But it should be to support what I'm trying to say. It should not be too verbose in a sense that what's written on or what's shown in my presentation are exactly what I'm saying. Hindi dapat. Dapat mga cues siya kung ano sasabihin po natin. Next, reset the attention clock. Include opportunities for active learning. Like what I'm doing right now, I'm modeling like think aloud. And I do not filter a lot. Like, pag nagkamali ako, hayaan na kasi it makes the students feel like it's real, that it's active, na face-to-face pa rin interaction. Unlike for pag nakita ng bata sa recorded, kasi pwedeng i-cut ni teacher, i-reshoot niya ulit yung part na hindi niya nagustuhan. Pag online kasi, it's more natural, it's spontaneous, na to heck with my errors. It's but normal. I mean, mispronounce certain words, but it's okay. I'm aware of that. And you people out there are aware of that, but it's inconsequential of the information that I'm trying to provide for you and what I'm trying to, the information that I'm trying to share. Sometimes I stumble over my pronunciation dahil magdaldal ka ba naman ng ilang minuto mula kayo na umaga? It really hurts. Next, organize the lecture with a clear structure and signposts. This is what I do. Like meron po akong like discussion, meron palaging signposts to give me and to my viewers out there as a cue, ano na ang susunod na activity, anong susunod na gagawin ni sir. Okay? Don't worry, by next month, this next week, magkakaroon tayo ng konting interactivity. Although most of the responsibilities would be mine, ako magdadrama dito sa harap ninyo, but nonetheless, mag-analyze pa rin kayo. I hope you would. Alright? So, yung pagkakaroon po ng flow. Kung anong flow mo, may mga signposts ka, meron kang transitions. That will be also a way of helping our viewers see that there's now a smooth transitioning from one topic to another. Okay, and finally, prepare notes that will serve as a roadmap rather than a script. To be honest, I have also a handout format of my presentation before I start my PowerPoint presentation. I have already a flow of what I'm going to say, and then I try to digest what information, what statements, what information are only essential for me to present during my presentation. All other rest are just for my verbal explanation. So roadmap. So lahat ng nilalagay ko sa akin PowerPoint presentations are kind of like cue cards for me to be reminded of what I'm supposed to say. Sometimes if it's spontaneous, I get to forget. We have to admit, teachers, that we're not getting older. I think that's wrong. We're not getting any younger. Ano tayo, bumabata? We're not getting any younger, and therefore we cannot over-rely on our memory. Hence, we need certain memory cues like our PowerPoint, the way they are organized, signposts, questions. Kaya mahilig po ako sa questions kasi naayos po yung aking pag-iisip, the way I will deliver it. Again, that's how I am and how I do it. You explore how you're going to deliver yours. Now, if you think the way I deliver it with question answer, with this kind of presentation works for you, well, then by all means, make it your own. It's not mine anyway. I just explored it. Okay. Next would be during lecture. So during lecture, ito ginagawa natin. Make your students feel that you're interacting with them. Di ba yung gumaganon ka na ikaw talaga? No, you make them feel that you're actually talking directly to them, even if you're not seeing them face to face. Ako, para akong tanga dito, nakatingin lang sa camera, feeling that I'm really talking to you, but I feel like you are there. Are you there? Or am I seeing things? Joke lang yan. Patay na ulit ang joke ko ngayon. Okay, next, show passion for the subject. I think one of the things that makes online lecture and well, offline online lecture makes more interesting for our students is that our passion for the subject. Like I think people get engaged in my presentation. I think lang naman po eh, I think I'm being too presumptuous, but I think these are some few of the comments of the people who've been messaging me, giving me private messages that, sir, kasi para ka nagipag-usap lang, parang andyan kaharap ko lang. That because, and when you talk about those topics, you get too animated and we feel that you love what you're doing. Yes, I do love what I'm doing. And I do thank God for giving me a profession that I love doing, but at the same time, it's my source of income and it's my career. So could I ask for more? Next, provide students a clear sense of day's topics and their relation to the learning of the subject as a whole. Yung unang ginagawa ko, di ba meron na akong outline that makes you feel na ano ba dapat, ano mangyayari sa buong session na yon. So the outline or an overview of what the students will learn is very important. So dapat ibibigyan po tayo. Palagi po meron pong overview, palagi po nag-lecture tayo sa mga bata. And then a little bit of summary. The way I do it, I have an introduction, and then at the end I have, a conclusion and summary that, wraps up, makes students feel that there was a completeness of the lecture. Next is use gestures, eye contact, and movement around the room. Naman ang movement around the room kasi ang hirap. Unless mayroong camera nagsusunod-sunod sa akin. Next time po, pag naayos ko na, nakabili na pa ako ng ring light with cellphone holder, tapos meron pa po dito, bibili pa ako ng isa dito para nakakaganon-ganon ako, para mag-artista ang dating ng maraming angulo. But I'm still working on my angles. Okay? That's very interesting too. By doing facial expressions and your gestures, comes out so natural. Finally, we have demonstrate respect for and interest in student ideas and questions, like have time to entertain questions from students, like I'm doing right now. After this, we will have an open forum by making you by entertaining your questions. It's a way of making your lectures online. Sa offline kasi hindi mo gagawa yun eh. Yun ang hindi yun ang one of the disadvantages. Hindi nagkakaroon ng interaction between the teacher offline. But in the online, you can have a session, a part of your online lecture where you allow students to ask questions and then you answer those questions, like an open forum. Now, after lecture, I would just give you 3 things. Rethink. Was my way of delivering it good? What about the feedback from my teacher, from my students? Were they okay? Should I consider some aspects that I need to redo? Kagaya po ng technical problem ko po, na nagkaroon po ako ng problema, naghahang na po ang aking PowerPoint dahil sa sobrang graphics ko. Okay, nasobrahan ako ng graphics. So ngayon, binawasan ko na ng mga GV, binawasan ko, so may mga still pictures na ako, tapos binawasan ko ng mga animations kahit paano. Bawas na yan po. Tinitingnan ko po yung kanyang ang kanyang heaviness ng file. So rethink. Analyzing, was I good? What's something I need to look into? What I need to improve on? Was my delivery right? Was my visual aid too much for the students that it distracts them from my explanation? I think getting feedback from the students is one good way of knowing how we can rethink our presentation, our lecture. Next, retool. So we think of other ways to deliver our goods. It could be incorporating audio files, incorporating video files, which I'm already doing, but we cannot do that here because of copyright problems. So what I can do is, nagdadrama na lang ako dito. Next is revise. The next time you create your presentation, that's when you do revise. Like one of the many questions na, sir, pwede po bang palakihin ang fonts the next time? So we do revise. Tapos, bago ako mag-present talaga, muna ako nagra-run through para ma-revise ko kung tama ba yung order ng transitions. So I do that. By doing that, we're able to help ourselves become better at our lectures, and it becomes more interesting not only for the students, but it becomes more interesting to us. And we have to admit, and I have to admit that as I do this every day, every week, I get to be interested in doing more and exploring other possibilities of improving my lectures. Okay, so these are the things I would like to share to you, the classroom flipping as a way of improving classroom lectures too. So one way of doing classroom, one doing classroom flipping is called the standard inverted classroom. How do you do this? So students are assigned the homework of watching video lectures that is offline and reading and materials relevant to the next today's class. Offline po siya. During class time, this is online na. Students practice what they've learned through a traditional schoolwork with their teachers freed for additional one-on-one time. So ibig sabihin, this is a combination of offline na unang babasahin ng mga bata, mga modules, tapos panonoorin yung mga pre-record videos na pinadala sa kanila. And then during online, scheduled online, doon ipapractice na ngayon, tutulungan ng teacher na i-practice lahat ng kanilang naintindihan at doon makikita ng teacher kung gaano kalalim ang pagkakaintindi ng kanilang materials na independently na binasa ng bata. This is called the standard inverted classroom. Another one is discussion-oriented flipped classroom. Teachers assign lecture videos as well as another video or reading related to today's subject, think TED Talks, and then YouTube videos and other resources. Ang mangyayari po dito na yung input ng teacher ay this is more of online na i-upload ng teachers sa Facebook or TED Talk or YouTube, tapos doon titingnan ng bata. I-redirect, nakalagay sa modules ng bata kung ano ang link para panoorin ng bata. Okay? The other one is demonstration-focused flipped classroom. In this model, the teacher uses screen recording software to demonstrate the activity in a way that allows students to follow along at their own pace. It could be offline or online. Ang ginagawa dito, especially for skills like sa TLE, sa mathematics, yung way of solving problems, for experimentation in science, pre-recorded pong ginagawa ng teacher para ma-record ang steps para gagayahin ng mga bata sa kanilang mga bahay. It could be uploaded as an online material which they are going to download, or it could be given to the students as an offline lecture or offline material that it's dated and based on a schedule given to them. Yun doon nila bubuksan plus activity sheets. All right. And with that, I'm now ready to entertain questions. Thank you very much for reminding me. It's already 3:15. Yes, I'm now ready to entertain questions and clarifications from the viewers from our viewers out there.
Thank you very much, Brother Ricky. So our first question is from Mr. Edward Noda. What are good activities for synchronous class that doesn't require much of a data? Here in Manila, we need to consider the monthly data allocation of students for only 10 gig per month.
I would suggest that that you can do offline lectures pre-recorded. Yung mga ano po, di ba sa inyong lesson po meron pong nakalagay doon ng mga input information that students should know or babasahin po nila, or sa mga libro natin dati na may mga babasahin sila, pwede po ang gawin po ninyo ay yun po ang gawan niyo po ng lectures. Or kung hindi po lectures naman po, ito po ay mga YouTube, especially for classes naman, di naman kayo kung personal use kung personal use naman niyo po yun ng mga bata, pwede niyo pong i-download ang mga videos nito, especially for Khan Academy, from YouTube. Tapos, yun ang ibibigay mo sa bata as offline materials, pero naka-schedule, nakalagay nga lang, merong listahan nga lang, parang syllabus, listahan pa kung itong date na to, anong panonoorin nila, anong activity sheet. So, mayroon pa rin po kayong syllabus sa susundin. Yan po yung sinasabi ko kanina na mas importante po na nagawan po ninyo ng offline lectures yung mga input. Kasi nga, it replaces the online. Just in case po, bakit kailangan natin gawin na offline? Kasi there's a possibility during online, magkaroon ng interruption ang connection ng bata. Or sa kaligitnaan ng lecture na naputol ang bata, paano niya babalikan yung online lecture kung kung wala namang recorded nun. So I would suggest that all the lectures will be delivered online must have pre-recorded. Kasi paninigawan naman ng teacher na during online, yung pre-recorded video niya, yun yung papanoorin ng mga bata. So double purpose po ang offline materials na ginagawa natin. It can be used as offline lectures delivered to the students via flash drive or US flash drive or a CD, or it could be uploaded, used as an online material. Double purpose po siya. So I would go for pre-recorded, especially for teachers that are very conscious about their spontaneity. So I would go for recording. Mas okay po yan. You can edit for errors, you can edit for mistakes. Ako kasi I'm not so conscious about my errors and my mistakes. To me, that's part of a natural way of delivering information. But sana hindi po conceptual errors. Kung kagaya po sa akin na mispronunciations, tapos yung mga nakagat ko dila ko, ang accent ko. Well, anyway, those are just what we call as superficial errors. Pero kung ang tawag po natin ay conceptual error, nako, mali po ang matutunan ng bata. So might as well go for offline lecture recordings. Yung mga input po sa mga modules niyo, yung po ang gawa ninyo ng lecture, pre-recorded po. Tapos, you can use it either for offline or online sessions. Thank you.
Thank you po, brother. Next one is from Miss Christine Salve Manal. Question po, is it okay if we include our students in making our online or offline activities? For example, in English po, we can assign a certain students to share a word for the day.
Opo. That can also be done as kailan po mangyayari po niyan po, dapat kasama po yan sa orientation. I had a session on that during orientation, preparing the mindset, week webinars po natin na dapat pag may ganun po tayong activity, hindi dapat siya bigla na lang siyang lalabas kasi mahirap sa distance education na bigla na lang lalabas, mahirap ang preparation ng mga bata. Dapat during the orientation, sinabi niyo na sa mga bata na starting this coming month, magkakaroon na po ng assignment ng sharing of the word or sharing an article, especially for the higher grade levels. Pwede pong gawin nun. Pero ang gagawin ng mga bata ay pre-recorded tapos i-play lang nila. Pwede po din yun. It could be done as an offline and online materials. Your idea is brilliant. It makes the online lectures or the offline lectures more interactive. And at that point, it makes our students more active. And especially for the language subjects, mas makikita po ang application ng tinuturo natin sa mga bata, especially on the oral aspects of the language. Makikita natin na napapractice ng mga bata. Maganda nga kung ang gagawin pa natin ay i-upload ng bata kung may mga Facebook sila, yun ang gamitin, yun ang platform nila na word of the day. So we're going to visit the Facebook wall of blah 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 because it's her time to post on her Facebook the word of the day, and we're going to Mr. Blank's IG to see the statement of the day. Parang gano'n. Kung meron kayong gano'n. So pwede po natin gamitin ng mga online platforms, integrate po natin sa ating online lectures or offline lectures. That would be interesting. Good idea, ma'am. That's good. Yes, I would say yes. Go for it.
Okay po, thank you, Brother Ricky. And for the last question is from Mr. Reynold Briones. Do you think po, Brother Ricky, that online learning will work better than in face-to-face learning?
If you want my honest answer, we are actually in uncharted waters at the moment. This is our first time in the Philippines to do that, but not my first time to do it. It will work well for students who have a certain level of independence and certain of self-management and study habits. But for student and of course literacy level, that they are readers, independent readers. But for students that, especially for kinder to grade 3, that's a huge problem. Modeling is very important. And also for the higher grade levels where students are still non-decoders who are struggling with their literacy. And for students who have problems with the content, like students who have problems with mathematics, who don't like mathematics, students who don't like science, doing experimentation, I think it will cultivate a lot of laziness among our students without, if there is no active support from our parents, uh, it will it will be an utter failure. Our distance education in the Philippines will be an utter failure without the support of the parents. Kasi sa mangyayari pong ito, the parents become the pseudo teachers at home. Kasi wala naman si teacher doon. The challenge there would be paano matatransfer ng alam ng teacher sa content, paano maituturo ng teacher ang content knowledge niya sa parents para sila ang magiging support sa mga pag-aaral, pagkatuto ng bata sa bahay. That's the challenge. And if you're not able to do that, if you're not able to make the parents actively partners and be involved in the learning process and orienting them and making them also experts of what we have been experts of, I would say it's going to be a failure, and we will have a generation of students who, one, would be poor in literacy, poor in content, poor in communication. So lahat na lang magpupurpo, bababa po tayo. So kung extend pa natin for another year, it will get worse. So yun lang po ang nakikita kong solusyon na para mag-work po ito. Kung makakatulong po din po ang local government, ang local radios po para mga nakapag-support po sa education. It cannot be just the sole responsibility of the teachers. We can only do so much. Our budget, our ability to connect with the parents, and our ability to do so much for the welfare of the learning welfare of our students is just limited to what we can do at home and at school. Outside that, it becomes now the responsibility of the community. And I would say that if the local government, like the mayor or the congressman or even the president, do not realize this crucial role, the crucial role of the parents in making the distance education a success, then wala po talaga. Kawawa po. Parang gawin po, sige mag-distance education lang tayo for the sake of fulfilling the school year, pero hindi naging effective. Sana ma-realize po ng gobyerno na maggawa sila ng mga training para sa mga magulang, mag-alat sila ng budget kaysa magbigay po ng maraming kung saan ng mga projects na stop muna yung build na yan. Focus muna tayo sa education. Ang gawin muna ay suportahan, magbigay ng mga training sa mga magulang para tumaas ang literacy. Anong gagawin? O kaya mag-create ng mga para-teachers within the community, ang mga magulang na wala namang trabaho, tas mga chismosa. Di pala chismosa. Ang politically correct term for chismosa ay concerned citizens. Para sa mga nanay at tatay doon na wala naman trabaho sa bahay, they are homemakers, not home wreckers, homemakers, that they are highly concerned citizens. Pwede po natin silang enlist na yung kanilang passion po nila na makialam sa buhay ng ibang tao. E dito, isama natin sila, maging para or solo teachers po sila in the community. So mga barangay na safe sila, o kaya mga subdivision, it becomes now an initiative of the community to support the education. Pero hindi dapat ang education ang nagdidikta sa komunidad. Dapat ang komunidad ang makarealize noon para makatulong sa education. Hanggat hindi nakikita ng komunidad yon, at they're still having this blind reliance and dependence to the teachers, at as later on sisisin pa rin ng teachers, that won't work. I'm sorry, but that's my honest answer.
Thank you po, Brother Ricky. That's all the questions that we have for now. Any last reminders to our viewers for today po?
Thank you very much. I would just say it's last reminders. And again, I would like to say thank God it's Friday for you guys, but my work still continues on to Sunday. All right, so I would like us just to remember these 10 tips. Remember that lecturing is not well suited for higher levels of learning. Why? Because Dapat pagdating na ng bata sa senior high school, sa college, nagdi-diminish na po ang lecture. Bakit po nagdi-diminish na po ang lecture? Dahil dapat ang mga bata, they're becoming more independent learners, na they're not becoming reliant, overly reliant on the teacher's input. So habang tumatagal, bumababa po o lumiliit po ang porsyento ng lecture ng teacher. So mangyayari po dapat ang mga bata na po ang nagbibigay ng input. So I would have to say there are more reporting student input in the higher grade levels as opposed to the lower grade levels. Next, should we decide what you want the students to know and be able to do as a result of the lecture? So be focused. To make the lecture more purposive, more explicit, just focus on what students need to know, especially for online. Limit your topics to, digestible chunks of information. Next, outline your lecture and share that outline with your students. Yung ginagawa ko, mag-outline, pero klaro sa utak nila kung ano yung sunod. And next, choose relevant concrete examples. I think one of the many things that makes your lecture more relevant and more relatable would be the examples that you use. So for us to know what the students are experiencing right now, kagaya ako po, I had to learn to play ML. Kasi para malaman ko anong experience yun. Kaya pala nagkakanito mga bata dahil dito. So if I could use this platform to my online lectures as an example, pwede po naman pala. All right? Find out about the students, their backgrounds, and their goals. So profiling po. I've been advocating profiling, student profiling, for us to be able to prepare more relevant lectures to our students. Number 6, permit students to stop you, okay, to ask questions and make comments or ask for review. I think that's quite clear, especially for online. It can be done for online lectures. We can always have, say, a certain point where students will allow, or you can ask students now if you have questions and clarifications while I'm discussing and you think you need to be clarified because you cannot get along with the lecture. So you can, click the hands up button. Intersperse periodic summary. So every now and then, kaya na ginagawa, every question, meron akong answer, tas I summarize it. So ganun po ang gagawin natin sa lectures online. Medyo parang an end in itself. Pero konektado pa rin siya. Start with a question, problem, or current event. So pwede kang question format ang ginagawa ko, or problema kagaya na ginagawa ko sa contextualization or sa aking myth busting, and then current events. Siguro gawin ko yan ng current. Mahirap kasi yung current events sa online lectures kasi minsan hindi nagko-connect sa topic. Pero hanggang questions sa problem lang kaya kong integrate. Next, watch the students. If you think they don't understand you, stop and ask them questions like, alam ko naman sa pag nag-online lecture kayo, nakikita niyo mga faces ng mga bata. Yun ay kung magandang connection talaga. Nangyari na sa akin, naghahang talaga. Kaya pinatanggal ko yung mga videos sila para hindi ko main ng bandwidth. Pero mas maganda kasi nakikita niyo ang facial expressions ng mga bata kasi by that, at least one way or the other, you are able to gauge whether they're getting it or not, or they're having difficulty, or they're getting the idea. And finally, use active learning techniques, the one that I shared to you, like having visual aids, balancing words with pictures, and then having signposts. With that, I think you can improve your lectures online or offline. And I hope that you have some takeaways in making your online and offline lectures better as you move along with the school year, as you progress in the school year. And I hope some of these steps would guide you in this improvement process. With that, thank you very much. Good afternoon. And I'm happy to give you the last topic for this week. And next week, we're going to start a whole new topic in tribute to all teachers. And just stay tuned and let us know if our way of presenting our new webinar, my presentation will be quite interesting for you. So we do value your comments and your feedback, and we consider that in our improvement of our delivery of our webinars. With that, thank you very much, and I hope to see you next week.
There we have it. In behalf of Evolve Group Incorporated, I would like to thank you, Brother Ricky, for being our speaker this afternoon for this insightful and inspiring learning session. It is truly an honor to have you with us today, brother. And to all our Evolve viewers, all thanks to you for your continuous patronage to our daily learning session. We encourage you to subscribe and watch on our official Facebook and YouTube channel. Muli maraming salamat at magandang araw po sa ating lahat. Goodbye everyone. Happy weekend.
Happy weekend.